In every game, there are mavericks, people who have their own signature way of doing things, ridiculous oddballs and ingenious innovators who make us question everything we know about the games we love.
Yeah, oh my god, double kill! Triple! Oh my god!
But there is one player in competitive CSGO who plays the game in a nearly unbelievable way.
Chris J, but it's Woxic hidden underneath that maybe they should be worried about. He's lit them up. And these pistols are not getting anything done. But Woxic kicks them out the server.
A freak of nature who not only plays left-handed, but does so at an incredibly high sensitivity.
Mouseport into over-aggressing. I like the idea, and it nearly pays off with a kill, but this is really where Woxic can open up and show us why he is so feared with the AWP. It's against an eco, but nice AWP work in the end. A 4K, there's the ace.
I'm talking, of course, about Woxic, whose approach to Counter-Strike is anything but normal.
Short.
So why is one of the world's best playing with this insane sensitivity? And why hasn't it stopped him from becoming a veritable superstar?
Chris J's jumping. It could be a problem. Elise stabilizes. Surely. Oh! Woxic's an animal. He does not want to lose.
Okay, so obviously when it comes to mouse sensitivity, it's all a matter of personal preference. There are plenty of sites devoted to tracking the way that pro players play the game, their resolution, crosshair settings, and yes, sensitivity. Now, we're not going to bore you with the math, but basically to standardize a player's sensitivity, these sites typically multiply the player's mouse DPI by their sensitivity slider in the CSGO menu. This new value is called eDPI, or effective DPI. And on those sites, we can see that most of the pro players that we know and love are all using eDPIs somewhere in the mid to high hundreds.
Device just had a really rough game, flashed, he's gonna get that shot, and then has to feel a little bit going out middle of the air to take down Alex, and now they're pushing. Oh, you've got to be kidding me! He takes every single one!
There are exceptions, of course, boomers like Forrest and Hiko who play it in and around 1600 eDPI, or hyper-talented superstars like Simple and Elige who frag out at roughly 12 to 1300. In both cases, those are generally considered to be high-ish sensitivities. But at the very top of the pack, playing recently with an obscene eDPI of 2400, we find Özgür Woxic Eker, a Turkish AWPer whose nose, like his mouse, has incredible sensitivity.
Smells bad. I'm sorry, but it smells really bad.
A passionate AWP artist who's occasionally known for losing his cool.
What the f? What the f is that?
Beyond being hilarious, Woxic isn't your average pro player either. He's an incredible talent who has found himself ranked among the best in all of CSGO when it comes to wielding the big green. And honestly, it is very easy to see why.
Is he really going to take this fight again? It's Krieg versus Zorp, and precise as always. An 11th for Woxic and a crucial opener for Mousesports. It was 6 in a row, and he's got 2 in a row. 4! Suck jumps into the jaws, and Woxic, he's so damn hungry here. He's had his dinner. And he's got 5! It doesn't matter where they come from. Tarek couldn't do a thing, and Woxic is a beast.
Okay, so why play with this sensitivity at all? Well, maybe it's because he happens to play on the world's tiniest desk. I'm not kidding. Look at this shit.
Şimdi alıyorum kamerayı. Görebiliyor musun?
Mousepad.
Mousepad'in nereye gittiğini görüyor musun?
Sığmamış ya, kıyamam
Ve
sana.
klavye de dışarı çıkmış bir şekilde duruyor, görüyorsan eğer.
But having a good reason doesn't mean that he still doesn't get shit from his fellow players when he's playing FPL.
So the sensitivity is around 6 or 5?
For what DPI? Which DPI?
400.
For 400, I think 12 or 8.
What?
But even if his unconventional playing surface explains how he got started, it doesn't completely explain how he manages to do so well with such a high sensitivity. For that, we wanted an expert. Meet Ron Rambo Kim, a former world champion CS player turned coach who covers aiming mechanics and more on his YouTube channel.
He's definitely on the high side of the spectrum, way above average. And for a slower tactical-based game like CSGO, it's even more out of the norm because it is slower paced. The game happens in like a sequential, systematic way. There isn't really need for that higher sense, like in other arena-based games like Quake. You do have to do 360s and check your corners. So for him to do that, it's very unique.
But even though the majority of CS players may be working with a much lower sensitivity, that doesn't necessarily mean that one is better than the other. And Woxic is proof.
There's definitely some pros and cons of high sensitivity. With higher sensitivity, you do have a faster range of motion. So you're able to, point your crosshair from point A to point B much quicker. So anytime you're caught off guard, you're able to, make up that speed, shave a few milliseconds off from that aiming. But the cons of high sensitivity is that because it is more sensitive, the slightest amount of mouse movement aims the mouse. So if you're nervous, your hands kind of shake, it could get tense, there's tension there, your sensitivity is gonna feel it.
So, in spite of all his quirks, how has Woxic actually performed? Well, his breakout with Hellraisers in 2017 put him on everyone's radar, and he spent a year and a half with that team as basically their talisman.
Woxic's gonna back off his angle in a 1 versus 3. 9 to 3. Is that gonna happen? Or is it gonna go to 10 because it gets bombed down? This AWP can start to become a massive threat as they do work their way back in. One at a time, that AWP certainly can be a threat, and he hits all 3. Beautiful from Woxic.
But in 2019, he got an incredible offer to play alongside Kerrigan and the 16x9 boy himself as part of Mouse Sports. And Woxic didn't waste that chance. He helped Mouse secure massive victories at the ESL Pro League Season 10 Finals and CSGO Asia Championships 2019, where he was even named the MVP.
Woxic is the last man. He has been a nightmare for Tyloo on the B bomb site in these clutch situations. Now it's the 1 versus 1. It's the Creek versus the M4. Woxic has ruined the dreams of Tyloo, and Mouse Sports goes to the final.
Now, it's no secret that Vaxic is a beast with the AWP, so I had to know for myself. Could his sensitivity actually make me a better player?
Alright, so I need to switch my mouse DPI to 1600, and I have to make it 1.5 to attain an eDPI of 2400. What the fuck? Nope, how does that not go? How does that not go? How does this not... Nope, nope. Not even close. How do I... Oh, where are you? Alright. Oh god, alright.
Anyway, growing up, no one told today's pro players how to use a mouse, but whatever he's doing seems to be working for him. So, is it possible that he's just ahead of the curve? To find out, we consulted Garrick Fermin, a PhD candidate at Brock University who works in the Neuromechanics and Ergonomics lab. Garrick explained that there has been a law to model human movement since we first started thinking about how we as a species would go about using computers. It's called Fitz's law.
And basically what it says is the difficulty of a movement is related to the size of the target you want to hit, as well as the distance you have to travel to hit it. So therefore, performance in this sense is related to how fast you can perform that movement.
So based on that logic, wouldn't a higher sensitivity be better? You get to the target faster, right? Well, as we've seen, that's not always the case.
I'm sure anyone who plays games realizes that high sensitivity doesn't instantly make you amazing at everything. There are a number of issues that can arise from it, particularly over aiming. I think everyone's probably fairly familiar with that. Since a small movement at the wrist can create a large movement on screen, you have to be very careful with how you're moving.
When you over aim, you have to correct that. Or to prevent over aim, the faster that the mouse is moving, the faster you need to be able to slow it down. These things all use muscles, But the way that Woxic plays means that his wrist and hand carry a lot of the load.
If you're using largely the wrist and you're not using anything else, 100% of the strain is on that one joint and all those muscles. Because the wrist is built for very fine movements. It's very specific movements and you need to be very accurate with what you're doing. If you adopt more of an arm heavy or shoulder heavy style of aim, you can achieve most of the gross movements. So that keeps the wrist more in a neutral position, minimizing risk of carpal tunnel. It also reduces the force that's going through your wrist and kind of reduces the risk, I think, of overuse injuries.
For the moment, Woxic's style remains the exception and not the rule within Counter-Strike. And fortunately for him, it hasn't hindered him from landing exciting opportunities to compete at the game's highest level. Maybe that's what we love about players like Woxic. He gives us hope that our weird quirks aren't mistakes. And he shows us that it's possible to defy conventional wisdom and still be an incredible competitor.
I guess if you have decided to just spend your entire life focusing on fingertip aiming, then I guess you can get that good. He is just some absurd creation that cannot be replicated in any sense of a human.
I didn't even see where that came from. Woxic's tired of waiting around, and there it is, 4 kills from Woxic. Where on earth has that been all game long for Mouse? And Woxic is on for the ace. It's only James left on the other side, and Woxic, hungry for it, delivers all 5 in this pistol round for Mouse Sports. They needed it. Someone had to provide, and that man is Woxic.
One tap, one tap, one tap, one tap. One tap. No. One tap. One tap. Ooh! Get shit on, son. Alright. Oh my god, I feel like Colin McNeil. I think this is how Colin feels all the time. Come on, come on, come on! Oh! This!